Hello?
Hi, I'm here.
Can you see me now? Have I gone live?
No.
I'm going to be live in 8 seconds, is that right?
Okay, good. Are you looking at that screen? Yeah, you're on.
Yeah. Hello and welcome. Fáilte roimh, Hig an Gillian Quinola. Sorry about the delay in getting on here today. A lot of technical difficulties. Really thrilled to be here reading on Lá Náisiúnta na Filíochta, buíochas le Simon agus Roz, as an lá iontach seo agrú I níl cibhne Ivan Boland atá imithe Chlí na Firinne. So, right, as you all know, we're in the middle of a pandemic and questions are being asked. How did this happen? Could it happen again? I'm going to read from a book, Fiacha Fada, which charts the anti-D scandal, so-called. And I should say here that my name is Celia Dufresne and I write in Irish and English. And I'll read the English translations first and then the Irish originals. And the hepatitis, the anti-D scandal left 1,600 people with hepatitis C and other people lost their lives. And it happened in Ireland towards the end of the last century. So how did it happen? It happened through gross negligence. And could it happen again? It could, and it did. So I'll read a poem from that collection from Fiacha Fada. And there's just one reference in this poem that might be a bit obscure, and that's The Head of Alfredo Garcia, which was the name of a film that was out in the 70s. The worst nightmare. There were days when you'd shove your hand into a cupboard in search of a cabbage and come upon the head of Alfredo Garcia. Others when you'd thread a needle and imagine you were darning a hole out of which the evil of the world could escape. Times when you'd press a knob on the oven and conjure the 6 million naked shorn in the shower. But at night, the curtains drawn, the door locked and bolted, you felt safe, yourself and your care. No matter how many horror stories swam into your mind, you never imagined this nightmare. You lived in a democracy, yourself and your care, under an elected government who cherished each citizen, far from the laboratories of jack-booted men. An tromlí is trime. Léitheanta áirithe agus tá lámh ásá sa chóifre agat thóir cobáiste, thugtá chligean Alfredo Garcia. Léitheanta eile is tú I mun darnála, bheabhraítí duit dubhagán as a bhéiteach olc an domhan éilú. Scatí agus canapa an ain á chosa, chimhnítá na sé I bhiliún, nocht, bartha sa chith olca. Ach is sithe na curtíní tarraingthe san glas an doras, bhreatá slán, tú féin is the chóram. Níor tabhraíodh duit an tromlí seo. Bhí cónaí ort I nén lachas, tú féin is the chóram. Faoi rialtas an tofa, a chéimhníú gach saoránach, I bhfad ó héireanna na Jacques Vuteschi. Now for something a little lighter. As I said, I write in Irish and English, so this next poem is a metaphor for moving between languages as seen through the actions of a Selkie or seal woman. It's from my first collection, Fui Kabashti is Rinaka. And when I started writing poetry, I was advised by a senior poet to pick one language or the other, and that I would that I might not be trusted in either camp if I kept moving between languages. So I didn't heed the advice, but I did explore it in this poem. A time in her life. She was attracted to the land, damp though dry, and to the houses with their hearts and music, though there was music in the sea, strength in the waves, the coral weed every bit as beautiful as the globs of heather that sprouted among the rocks, or the mombretia that lined the road on her way to town. The people made her welcome, and though they knew that each time she came ashore, she hid her cloak in a loft or granary, no one tried to take it from her. Each time she stayed a little longer, knowing a day would come when she'd have to make a choice. She could always leave as long as she had her mantle, and who'd want to destroy a gift? Shall dá sail. Bhí sí máta leis an tír táis ach tirim, is leis na títhe lena dintáin is a geol, cé gur raibh ceol san airige, fuinneamh sna tanta, an aman choréalach in chortha leis na malta fré, a bhí a gobba amach idir na carrigacha, is leis an bhelastrum dearg a dás ar haven bhóthair ar a bhealach a chun an mhaile. Chuir na daoine fáilte rimpi, agus cé go raibh acu gur olí si a clóca I luchta knowing rónseach níor déanú iirecht é a bhaintdí. Agus gach uair a tháinig si, bhain si fuaithe seall níos fuide. Bhíos eici go dteochach lá a meic orthaí ráha a dhéine. Déiteach si fila ad is a bhí a phalling eici, agus cé a bheiceach irí brontanas a bhile. I'm here in the holding cell, and the grand holding cell it is too, and I have some family members here with me, and the fridge is full and we're doing all right. But there are plenty of writers throughout the world who are being held prisoner in very awful circumstances, and this next poem is for them. It's in a book of mine called Imram Odyssey, and an Imram is an old Irish literary form in which the great hero sets off to another world and faces all the challenges that are that beset him on the way. And I'm the great hero of this book, of course, and for the most part it's set in Slovenia. But one day I went on a day trip to Croatia. I was brought there by Milan Radovac, a local author, myself and another writer. And we visited a castle which had a torture chamber in the dungeons, very similar to the Tower of London. And also we visited a park of heroes where there were busts of many heroes who had lost their lives during the Second World War, around in the early 40s. And Milan's father was one of these. Torment. Now that we have crossed the border, we can visit the heroes' park and their place of torment. Look at the rack on which each victim was stretched until he became taller and thinner than any supermodel. Here also are what's left of the bells gathered by Mussolini to make bullets. I lay my hand on one, but it was silenced when its heart was ripped out, as are my complaints now about the small towels that sand me each morning, the mosquitoes that devour me each evening. The Myrna flows on, washing the sins of the mountain. My guide reaches up to a branch and picks for me the fruit of the Ladonia. Cesa. O Harley and Gwillan Choran Thrasni ha agin, is féidir cuairt a hort ar farc na lécra, is unad a géasta. Branú ar an racha ar a síntaí gach ibertach, go raibh sé níos airde is níos tanaí ná sár a bhanacín ar bith. Anseo freisin tá a bhfuil fáca den na cligéní a bhallaí Mussolini le pilléir a dhéine díobh. Leagam lámh ar cheann acu, ach go bailmhíú é nuair a bainniú a críde. Faoi mar a bhailmhítar mo chlamhsáin faoi na tuálaí beaga a bhíonn dom ghanamhú gach maidin, na moscítaí a bhíonn don scleamhú gach oíche. Cineann an murna orthaí ag ní facaí an tléimhe, is síneann morthóirí a lámh a níos higéig le céir an le dainne a phiocadh don. So the next poem now is much lighter. It's from a book, Abitarisha, Alphabet of an Age, which gives a nod to right now during the lockdown, we're all missing family and friends and extended family. And I'm missing most of all my beautiful granddaughter, Celia Aka, who lives high on a hill in Sardinia and whose only visitors in recent times were members of law enforcement who dropped by to give some Easter eggs to the children. And this is in Sardinia, of course, the poem, a beautiful island, and there are many ruins there and many Roman remains, just a tiny blob on the printout of a scan. The scent of wild mint for Celia Aka. I might not have realised that Sunday was the date on which night equalled day, had I not heard it mentioned. Not a day that heralds a change in season, or a night when spirits call, but a balance between one order and the other. A time I can hear the sea when dream enfolded, because your heart is beating on a tiny photo, making the future certain as the short evenings that lie ahead, fresh as the scent of wild mint, solid as that bridge built by the Romans. Bulla an Vishmeen Eoin, the Celia Oak. Oh, no, Celia Aka, she prefers Celia Aka. Shans nach digging gur bheith an dónach an dáta arab an law is ihe, murach gur thula mé tagart dó. Ní lá a ógraí an ahrú séisiúr é, ná ihe a dugan na spirit cuairt aring, ach cothram idir ord amháin is ord eile. Am a míam in an airige a chlistáil agus mé I maclan a bhring láide, mar go bhfuil dá chríse ag búla ar ghrian ghraifín, a dhéanann có cinse céine an todhchaí leis na trónónta gearra amach roing, có thuair le bulla an Vishmeen Eoin, có dangan leis an droichead úd a thóg na róhánaí. And I have a new book out. This is it, Ivragart Rilke, and it came out last month and it hasn't been launched. The launch was cancelled, so it's in a kind of a limbo, so I don't know where we're going with it. It's a book I wrote in response to the French oeuvre of Rainer Maria Rilke, and this poem is called Rose, like he has many poems about roses and indeed geraniums and all kinds of flowers. And many poets before me have written in response to those poems. The particular phrase in the poem that I'm responding to is, I'll just read it out. Si la rose voulait nous dire comment elle fait pour ne pas se distraire. And that, in my awful French, that means if only the rose wished to tell us what she does, not to distract herself. Though her garden companions are but transitory, the rose manages to stand firm. She outlives them all, the nasturtiums eaten by the snails themselves, even the twigs ferried off by the birds to a place apart. Clearly, she looks after herself, holding on to her root ingenuity. Not for you, she does this. Why think it is for you? Rose. Anion nachhfuil ina colúdar a gari ach gala sip, Irian leis an Monrose seasamh go dangan. Marann si ina nia ile na glórán a de na sheladí féin, fiú an brosna atá iompar go háit faoi le ag na héanaí. Is léir go mbraithníonn si hickey hain, graham ach cúineáil eici ar a préamh stoima. Ní duitse a dhéanann si é seo. Tuige a gceapá gur duitse é. So I finish off now. Because I'm doing the poems in 2 languages, I'm just doing half as many poems as everybody else. But I'll finish off with a poem, Asperla. And people often say to me, why don't you translate this or why don't you translate that? Translation is very hard work, takes a lot of time and effort. And some work in Irish doesn't lend itself to being translated, and some work in English doesn't lend itself to be translated. And to illustrate that, I'll read a poem in English, which is one of a sequence written in the voice of Shakespeare's women. And this is written in the voice of Titania, and it describes how she feels when she discovers she's been duped into spending the night with Bottom in the guise of an ass. She's been duped by Oberon, of course, the king of the fairies. And this is to all lovers of Shakespeare, and in particular to Sir Patrick Stewart, who's been giving us a sonnet a day since the start of the lockdown. Okay. Let him skip hence. What if I was enamoured of an ass? Oberon had become a bore of late, and when he started on those same crass jokes and tiresome stories, I couldn't wait to head for my neck of the wood, little thinking he'd trail behind like a love-sick schoolboy, smear me with oxalic spittle, aided and abetted by that side kick of his. I'll have any sprite I fancy, wherever and whenever I like. Rue the day I met the wretch, he'll not bring me to heel. I could tell you a thing or two about that night of unbridled passion. Only such deeds have gone out of fashion. So, Gurmila Mahagi August, apologies once again for the delay, and thanks once again to Simon and Roz, who not only facilitated this reading, but facilitated it through great technical complications and challenges. So, Slán go fóill a cóide, go bhana sibh slán sa bhfáilte.
Perhaps I should